The morning sun bathed the monastery in golden light. Disciples gathered silently around the Buddha, eager to hear his wisdom. The path to liberation begins with understanding the nature of suffering, he said. His voice calm and clear. Life is impermanent, and within it lies dukkha, suffering that binds all beings. The Buddha continued. Seek to grasp this reality fully. For ignorance fosters attachment and endless cycles of birth, death, and rebirth, he said. One disciple, a young man named Ananda, asked, Master, how can one truly know the essence of suffering? The Buddha replied, Ananda, reflect upon the sorrows in your life, the losses, desires, and unmet expectations that weigh upon your soul. Master, I am tormented by hatred for one who betrayed me. The Buddha gazed at him with compassion, his eyes reflecting profound understanding. Her grief was overwhelming, and she sought help beyond what any human could offer, he said. I told her to seek a mustard seed from a house untouched by death, the Buddha said gently. She knocked on doors throughout the village, hearing stories of sorrow and loss at every threshold, he continued, as she listened. Her heart opened to the shared experience of grief. She saw suffering as universal, he added. Through that journey, Kisa Gautami understood the first noble truth: life is entwined with dukkha, the Buddha said. The disciples nodded, contemplating the universality of suffering revealed in the parable of Kisa Gautami. The second noble truth, samudaya, teaches the origin of suffering. It arises from craving, attachment, and desire, the Buddha instructed. He paused, allowing their thoughts to settle, before continuing. Tana, thirst for what is not ours, enslaves us. Imagine a bee, drawn to the nectar of a flower, unaware of its own vulnerability, the Buddha said. Desire clings fiercely, compelling us toward transient joys and attachments that deepen our suffering, he explained. Understanding the nature of Tana can free the mind from its restless cravings, the Buddha emphasized. Another disciple asked, Master, is there an end to this suffering? Indeed, the Buddha said. There is nirodha, the cessation of suffering, a state where cravings are extinguished. This is liberation, freedom from samsara and the peace that transcends earthly attachments, he added. It is achievable when one realizes that desire is futile and impermanent, the Buddha elaborated. He shared a story of a merchant who lost his wealth in a flood. Clinging to despair over material loss, through meditation, the merchant learned that peace lies in accepting impermanence and releasing attachment to possessions, the Buddha said. Nirodha is the realization that suffering can be overcome, he said with conviction. The disciples listened, their understanding deepening as the Buddha spoke of liberation. The path to Nirodha is illuminated by Magga, the fourth noble truth, the eightfold path, the Buddha revealed. Through ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom, one journeys toward the cessation of suffering, the Buddha explained. Each step requires mindfulness and dedication, right view, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration, he said. A disciple hesitated, asking, Master, what if the path feels too arduous? The journey is not to be feared, the Buddha reassured. It is within you, unfolding in your actions and thoughts. He added, walk one step at a time, allowing truth and mindfulness to guide you. This path is transformative, bringing clarity to the mind and peace to the soul, the Buddha encouraged. The disciples sat in silence, feeling the gravity of the Buddha's teachings settle within their hearts. The Eightfold Path is not rigid, it is adaptable to each individual's circumstances and insights, the Buddha advised. Letting go begins with self-awareness, the Buddha added, his tone steady and illuminating. Master, I understand, but why is it so difficult? Arjuna asked, his voice tinged with vulnerability. Another day, another journey. The Buddha and his disciples arrived in the bustling village of Vasali. Burdened by despair, the air hung heavy with grief as illness swept through the streets, leaving families mourning their loved ones. Villagers approached the Buddha, their faces etched with sorrow, pleading for relief from their suffering. Hatred cannot conquer hatred. Only love has the power to bring light in moments of darkness, the Buddha said. He gathered the villagers under the shade of an ancient banyan tree. His voice calm and soothing. Let us cultivate metta, loving kindness, to heal the wounds of the heart and bring harmony to this village, he urged. The disciples followed his instructions as he began guiding them through a meditation on loving kindness. Begin by directing metta toward yourself, embracing your soul with warmth, compassion, and forgiveness, the Buddha instructed. A mother, grieving the loss of her child, asked, Master, how can I direct love to myself in such pain? The Buddha replied, Pain is transient, but the love within you is boundless. Nurture it as a flame to dispel the darkness, he continued. Now extend your loving kindness to those dearest to you, your family, friends, those who have touched your heart. A young disciple paused, asking, Master, what of those who have hurt us? Should we extend kindness to them too? Indeed, the Buddha said. Hatred consumes the soul. Compassion liberates it. Extend metta to all beings without exception. He recounted a tale of a farmer whose crops were destroyed by his rival, yet forgave and helped him rebuild. This act of compassion freed his heart. For love dissolves barriers that suffering erects, the Buddha explained. The villagers and disciples sat together, chanting words of metta, their voices creating a serene symphony of unity. The Buddha guided them further. Expand your loving kindness to distant beings, unknown faces, whose lives mirror your own joys and sorrows. His words resonated deeply, shifting the despair of the village into a powerful wave of collective compassion. As the meditation progressed, a sense of calm began to wash over Vasali, easing hearts burdened by grief. A disciple marveled at the transformation, asking, Master, how does metta achieve such miraculous harmony? The Buddha smiled gently, replying, It is not magic. It is the purity of intention that transcends suffering and division. Understand this, the Buddha continued. Metta unites all beings, binding us with threads of love and mutual understanding. The villagers shared moments of kindness, offering food, comfort, and support to neighbors, rekindling the spirit of the community. A father who had lost his wife sat beside a widow, offering her words of solace and companionship. This is the essence of metta, the Buddha said. When you give from your heart, you heal your own wounds. The disciples nodded in agreement, their hearts filled with the profound wisdom of loving kindness. It is not enough to practice metta in meditation alone, the Buddha warned. Make it a way of life. He shared a parable of a snake, coiled in fear, biting even those who wished it no harm. Through love and patience, the snake learned to trust and coexist peacefully, the Buddha narrated. Metta teaches us to dissolve hostility and embrace the interconnectedness of existence, he concluded. As the day turned to dusk, the villagers' despair had transformed into a newfound sense of hope and unity. The Buddha addressed the villagers one final time. Let metta be the foundation of your thoughts, words, and actions. The village of Vasali flourished once more, a testament to the power of love and compassion to conquer suffering. The disciples followed the Buddha away from Vasali, carrying his teachings in their hearts like a sacred lantern. The Buddha spoke to them. In every moment of suffering, remember the unyielding power of metta to bring harmony. As they journeyed onward, the disciples pondered his words, inspired to carry the light of loving kindness wherever they went. The echoes of chanting remained in their minds, a reminder of the unity they had witnessed in Vasali. Through the power of loving kindness, the Buddha illuminated a path of wisdom, peace, and liberation. Another day, another journey. The Buddha and his disciples rested beside the gently flowing waters of the Ganges River. The sun cast its golden rays across the surface, illuminating the serene scene with warmth and tranquility. The disciples gathered around the Buddha, eager to learn from his wisdom and gain insight into life's deepest truths. Disciples, the Buddha began. Today, we will explore the nature of the self and the illusion that binds it. He reached down, cupping water from the river, letting it trickle between his fingers in a silent demonstration. The self flows like this water, he said, ever-changing, impermanent, and beyond grasp. A young monk named Rahula asked, "Master, is there truly no self? Is identity merely an illusion created by the mind?" "Indeed," the Buddha replied. "The self is a construct, a combination of elements falsely perceived as permanent." Rahula looked to the Buddha, his face showing both curiosity and apprehension at the profound concept before him. The Buddha explained, "We perceive our body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness, and assume they define the self. Roots grow deep, yet they can be unearthed with effort and care," he said. Mira looked at the ground, contemplating the metaphor, her thoughts swirling within. Like the chariot, the self dissolves when deconstructed. It is merely an illusion maintained by ignorance, he concluded. Another disciple, named Devadatta, asked, "Master, how does this understanding help us attain liberation?" The Buddha replied, "Understanding impermanence and the illusion of self frees one from attachment and suffering." He continued, "Liberation comes when you embrace the impermanence of all things and let go of clinging and aversion." A merchant approached the group, curious about the discussion, asking, "How do I apply this wisdom in my daily life?" The Buddha smiled gently, responding, "Recognize the impermanent nature of possessions, relationships, and experiences. None of them define your existence. Live with mindfulness, embracing the present moment without attachment or resistance," he added. Rahula asked, "Master, if there is no self, who experiences suffering, and who attains enlightenment?" The Buddha explained, "Suffering and enlightenment occur in the flow of experiences. They are not bound to a fixed self." He continued, "Like a river, the stream of existence moves continuously, without beginning or end." A fisherman, sitting nearby, observed their conversation and asked, "Master, what of the soul? Does it not endure after death?" The Buddha replied, "The soul, as you perceive it, is another construct. Like the self, it arises from impermanent elements. The elements that compose existence disperse upon death, creating new forms and expressions," he added. The disciples listened intently, their minds reaching for clarity as the Buddha shared profound insights. "Consider this," the Buddha said. "Grasping at identity only strengthens suffering and ignorance. Let go of the illusion of self, and you will find peace and liberation," he concluded. He recounted a story of a farmer, mourning the loss of his land, clinging to his identity as its owner. Through meditation, the farmer realized his attachment to identity had deepened his suffering. The Buddha narrated, "Let the anger settle, as the sediment in this cup does," he said. Mira watched as the water began to clear, the turmeric sinking to the bottom. A wandering ascetic approached, asking, "Master, how does one escape the cycle of rebirth if the self is an illusion?" The Buddha replied, "The cycle of rebirth arises from ignorance and craving. Release these, and you escape the cycle," he continued. "Nirvana is not a place, but a state of freedom from attachment, aversion, and illusion. Realize the truth of existence, and you will transcend samsara, the endless wheel of rebirth, he concluded. Rahula asked, Master, how do we cultivate this realization in our practice? Through meditation, mindfulness, and the Eightfold Path, the Buddha said. You awaken to the impermanence of existence. Begin with small steps. He recited a verse. His voice melodious and clear. Lift not the bow, but the plow. Grow not fear, but abundance. They reflected on the teachings, observing the transient nature of emotions, sensations, and perceptions within their minds, as the evening sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink. The disciples gathered their insights. Rahula bowed before the Buddha, saying, Master, your teachings have shown me the path to liberation from the illusion of self. The Buddha nodded, his serene gaze conveying the depth of his compassion and understanding. As you continue your journey, let the truth of impermanence guide you, freeing you from suffering, he said. The disciples departed the riverbank, carrying the wisdom of the Buddha's teachings in their hearts. The gently flowing waters of the Ganges whispered the lessons of impermanence and liberation, resonating with all who listened. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.